Hi, I'm Will Leach, author of Marketing Mind States, and today I want to talk about the 4 human insights I believe that you need to know to solve pretty much any business problem that you have. The reason why I want to talk about this is that I believe that growing brand value is the current currency for marketing insights today. There used to be a time where we believed that our job was to provide brand insights or maybe some insights around launching a new product. But ultimately, in today's world where, there's hyper competition and that we are being exposed to so much inflation, so many, different things that can impact our brands, insights professionals are held accountable to whether or not they can actually grow brand value. And I believe that behavioral science insights is the way to get there. Why? It's because we own behavioral change, right? We are uniquely qualified in this idea of being able to bring behavioral change to our brands. Nobody else can do that. We study human behavior every day. Brand managers don't do that. They study how to build brands and how to build businesses. Agencies don't do that. They understand how to make connections through creative. We as human insights professionals, we understand human behavior. We study it every day. And so we have to start thinking about shifting our roles from providing consumer insights to actually becoming behavioral designers, or at least at the minimum, providing behavioral change strategies. Because I don't believe you can afford to waste time and money on new marketing campaigns and new innovations that are being tested by insights professionals and they're wasting money. I think in today's world, if we're doing that as insights professionals, we believe that insights are the way into, becoming stewards of the brand. I think insights are not enough anytime. We have to think about behavioral change and becoming change agents by building brand futures. And I talk about this a lot, in that we should become behavioral designers, not just understanding how to build brands, but also using behavioral psychology, behavioral insights to actually drive receptivity to our creative. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you have an issue with increasing your penetration or increasing trial, 2 really big things that lots of brands have issues with, you're going to want to understand goal theory. The reason why is that our goals direct and they reconfirm purchase decisions in the moment. So if you want your messaging to capture people's attention and maintain their attention long enough for you to increase penetration of your brand and to increase trial in your brand, you're going to want to understand people's goals. Now, there are 2 types of goals. There are functional goals and there are aspirational goals. Now, these functional goals are going to be really important for you because if you can identify your customers' functional goals, you can identify which features you should focus on to grab their attention. Now, if you want to do more than just grab their attention, you want them to buy your product, again, increasing penetration, increasing trial for a new brand or a new product offering, you're going to want to message to people's aspirational goals. Why? Because not only can you grab their attention with the aspirational goals, but if you can communicate that your brand helps them reach their aspirational goals, their ideal self, they are much more likely to buy. So if you need to increase penetration or increase trial, think goal theory. Next, you may be a company out there that's really focused on increasing repeat, maybe increasing frequency, or bringing back in lapsed users. If this is you, I want you to consider motivational psychology because our motivations provide emotional fuel to re-engage with brands. So what motivations do is it's really a study of our desires. And if you have an issue with your repeat buyers maybe are too low, you're getting low frequency, or maybe you've just, for some reason, alienated a lapsed user, then what you want to do is go back in time and really try to understand their core motivations. Why? Because motivations provide emotional fuel to take action. And there's only 9 of these things really you have to focus on. So if you identify which of these 9 are core to your customer, oftentimes that's the area you want to focus on to increase, your frequency, your repeat lapsed users. If you communicate that you can help them feel one of these core 9 human motivations, you're much more likely to get them to re-engage with your brand. Now, there are some of you out there that may be working maybe in the retail space. And where what I oftentimes do for my clients in the retail space is I want to focus on regulatory fit or framing. Why? Well, because our regulatory approach will actually lower shopper friction via framing effects. So if you have an issue, maybe you have your own retail site, or maybe you work in the retail space, if you want to increase trips, build your basket ring, or even create new value perceptions, what we need to do is lower cognitive friction or resistance to your marketing. And you can do this, one way to do it anyways, is through regulatory fit. So we desire to follow this intuitive way of thinking about the world. When we take actions, we oftentimes look to where our intuition takes us. So if you understand the intuition or the regulatory approach that your customers use, and there's only two, they're either optimistic, meaning they want to maximize good things in their life, a very simplistic way of thinking about it, or they want to minimize bad things in their life. If you know which way your customers kind of lean, you can rewrite your creative, you can rewrite your copy and frame up your features in such a way to increase trips, build your basket rings, and oftentimes value perceptions. So if you have any of those three issues, focus on regulatory fit, or what we'll talk about is called framing oftentimes. And then there are those people here that just need really quick hits. And if your job right now for your brand is maybe you have a very impulsive brand, maybe you're a candy out there, you're near the front register, and you want to increase impulsivity, think behavioral economics. Think about these triggers. What these are really useful to do is you can use them to build your baskets, and you can actually increase impulsivity. So maybe they wouldn't have bought your product the first time through, and because you incorporated a behavioral economic trigger, we call these things cognitive heuristics, you're better able to get them to buy off impulsivity. So when I hear that, there's a different category that my clients are looking for where they want to, add something extra to the basket, or maybe, buy this kind of really impulsive buy, this is where I go to Behavioral Economics 101. Now, the problem with behavioral economics right now is that there are so many companies out there talking about behavioral economics, and there's so many different people who are saying that there are hundreds of these cognitive heuristics. I don't believe that's really true. I find that in our practice, there's probably 21, at most 25 that come back again and again and again. So don't be overwhelmed with behavioral economics. It doesn't have to be so big. But what I do want you to know is that there's not that many, especially here in the United States, that we can go to again and again to really understand how do we move somebody from wanting to buy something to actually buying. And in that case, it's oftentimes using behavioral economics, a cognitive heuristic, or maybe a bias. And then I'm going to give you a fifth kind of thing. And this is this idea that I think it's really important, really, is to converge all of these things: goals, motivations, approach, and these triggers. Why? It's because if you collect all of these for your customers, you are now going to be in a position, if you're in the marketing research field, to pretty much solve for any business challenge. Because you're going to have all those four elements that you need. If you need to increase impulsivity, to go to triggers. If you need to increase the perceived value of your brand, we know we're probably going to go to regulatory fit, how we frame up our offers, maybe a little behavioral economics. If we want to increase frequency, well, then maybe what we want to do is push a little bit of motivational psychology, etc. So I think it's really important for you, if you're out there, is don't think of these research studies to solve one business problem necessarily. What you can do oftentimes is collect all four of these factors, all these the information or insights around these four factors, and so you can go back to that piece of research and you can use that to build, greater frequency, or you can drive trial, etc. So collect all of them at one time. If you do that, you can oftentimes kind of hit it all at one time, and you're going to have lots of insights needed to kind of drive that brand forward for years to come. So that's it. Listen, there are these 4, maybe 5 insights total that are needed to solve most business challenges. So get out there, go beyond the superficial empathy. We want to get in the shoes of our customers and really focus on those empathetic insights that drive different business outcomes. I just gave you 4 core empathetic types of insights, or really strong psychological insights that you need to grow pretty much any brand or business. So you can use these insights to grow your brand or business using the power of behavioral insights.